Welcome back to another episode of Tusk and Tradition. Been a little bit of time, about 2 weeks in between videos. Camera's been, if you watched the last few videos, camera's been acting up on me. So this is a new alternative. Who knows? Maybe upgraded. For those of you who only watch this content to see my good-looking face, I'm sorry to disappoint. For those who tune into the sports aspect of it, this might not be any big of a change for you. So we'll just see how it goes. We're constantly innovating over here, seeing how things work. They work better. If it doesn't work well at all, we'll go back. But we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, episode 22 of Tusk and Traditions. It's hard to believe it's been 22 episodes. I remember when I was coming back on a long road trip and, just wanted to decide I wanted to do this and, add a little bit of fun to my days off, talking about things I really enjoy. And here we are 22 episodes later, still going strong. Speaking of going strong, Alabama Athletics. I mean, there's no better way I'd put it. Softball coming off a big SEC weekend series win versus a top 10 team, Arkansas. They did suffer their first loss of the season in game one, but was able to rebound and win game 2 and 3 to win the series versus number 9 Arkansas. So big win for the softball team. They're still cruising. I still think they are grossly misranked. Depending on the poll you look at, they're going to be 4 or 6. More recognized at that 6th spot in those standard polls. I think that's a top 2 team, not 2, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, they'll have their plenty of opportunities, especially with the SEC and how talented it is in softball to stack those big SEC wins, series wins, and they'll keep climbing in the rankings as long as they keep doing that. On the other hand, baseball's hitting SEC play. Struggled versus Kentucky. They were a ranked team. Things just didn't seem to go our way. Couldn't get timely hits. Kind of left some people in scoring position. Classic how you lose a baseball game. But overall, baseball's been okay. I think a lot of people coming into this season didn't have super high expectations for this team. And then at the same time, when I was doing my homework, you'd have some people who thought this was maybe the best team Rob Vaughn's ever had. So jury is still out on that one. Not in an insane hot start to the season for them, but it's not bad by any means. They're just kind of hanging around right now and as we get started with the SEC play. And then to the main topic of probably this show, usually I feel like I do the main topic first, and then I throw in whatever's I also want to talk about on top of the main topic. Usually, for most of me making these, it's been football, and then I would throw in, basketball, and then, basketball season took over, and so it became basketball, and then I would throw in, baseball or softball. But today I started with softball. They're doing really good work. I think it needs to be recognized. Then I'm going to throw in baseball there, but now we're getting to basketball season. We're not getting to basketball season. We're actually getting to the quite opposite, the end. Time for Alabama to go on a run. So last time we talked, Alabama was coming off 6 straight wins. That win streak ended at Georgia. A really tough game. Felt like every time we made a bucket in that game, they made a bucket. We were due for a loss. I know it's weird to say that, but it's true. And then finished the year strong with a beatdown of Auburn at home, which in all likelihood is what kept them out of the dance. Maybe if they went on a better run in the SEC tournament, it would have been different. But if they had won at Bama on that game, they probably wouldn't have been part of that first 4 group teams that were out of March Madness. But Alabama was not out of March Madness. We came in as a 4 seed, got a very favorable side of the bracket. You look at other teams in the 4 seed kind of range. You had Arkansas, who won the SEC and was ranked behind Alabama. So it shows you how much they respect Alabama. They respect the schedule that we scheduled to play. We are, right up there with the top of strength of schedule, and it shows that the selection committee really values that, especially when you win those games. Auburn loved to say they had a really tough strength of schedule, but who cares if you don't win those games? And they didn't really win most of those games. So, they valued the strength of schedule we played and the games we won during that strength of schedule. That's going to help us get that 4. I think it also goes to show they respect Nate Oates, kind of what's been building in Tuscaloosa the last few years. It's no surprise that he took us to a Final Four. We've been to multiple Sweet 16s. Went to the Elite 8 last year. It says a lot where the program is going and where they value how Natos can coach in March. So I think you take all of those surrounding factors, and that's kind of what got us that 4 seed. I believe we were the 14th team overall for the tournament. So do the math that we are the second best 4 seed. We got Michigan's side of the bracket. Michigan was the number 1 team in our pool. We will play Hofstra, I believe, this Friday. It's March Madness. So, obviously, on paper, we're the better team, but it's March, and anything can happen in March. So it's going to be important we can kind of state who we are, play our brand of basketball. I feel like in our last game, which was versus Ole Miss in the SEC tournament, we did not do that. We let Ole Miss kind of set the tone and the pace of the game. They made it very obvious they weren't going to let us get threes off, and they played such a way where we had to be tough twos only. And that shows when we only scored 79 points, sitting into the 80s. And when we don't, crack into at least the 80s, we don't have a super high success rate of winning basketball games. So we can't allow Hofstra to dictate how we play, and that's going to go for however far we can go in March Madness. We can't let the opponent show how they want the game to go. We're going to take it to them, and that obviously our style of offense is putting up a lot of threes and a lot of at-the-rim baskets, and that's going to have to continue. If Alabama's on, and we've showed it in the past, you think about last year versus BYU, there's no one who's going to beat Alabama while they're on. If we're firing on all cylinders and we're hitting threes and, we're pushing the ball down the court and we're getting shots up between, 5 to 8 seconds on the shot clock, start of, not the end of, the start of the shot clock, then none of those 1 seeds are going to escape Alabama's fury if that's the case. Now, we got to be able to do that, and a lot of times, people's game plans, good defense, not switching over on threes or switching on threes, it plays a lot of impact on that. If I was Hofstra, I would look at what Ole Miss just did to us, and Ole Miss might have some more highly talented or highly sought-after basketball prospects on the court than Hofstra has, but that doesn't really mean much in March. We've seen teams with no names, guys who were selling insurance the next year after that go on absolute tears in March where they just can't miss. I think you think of Jack Goki last year where he just couldn't miss, and they knocked off Kentucky. There's been plenty. That's a dime and a dozen of stories right there of that happening in the past in March. Another breaking news out of Alabama for basketball is Aiden Holloway is now facing federal charges. From what I gathered from the story, his apartment or house, his residency, I guess we'll say, was raided, and they discovered some, I guess it was, I'm not sure how much it was or the weight, but some illegal drugs, I guess we'll say, at the residency. And so, there was a little bit of a few, that story broke and no one kind of knew what was going to happen next. But after, I guess, the university and, obviously, I guess it'd be local law enforcement along with state and federal agencies getting involved. He is off the team as of now, and I think the school has mentioned that they're going to obviously fully participate in whatever help they can be in the investigation. I believe I read that his status as a student is also not valid right now. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a better word to use than what I just said for that, but it looks like he will obviously not be with the team for March Madness, and who knows what the future holds. But I'm only going to talk on the sports side of it, not going to talk about the criminal or law side. I don't know enough to speak on that. But as of right now, he will not be with the team, and he will not participate in the tournament. So it's a big loss as a player, just for what he brought to the team in that aspect. He was probably Alabama's best shooter from beyond the arc. If you look at numbers now, do I think we can go on a run without him? Absolutely. I think we have the guys, the talent. But it's not saying that won't be a loss that is felt. But that's, next guy up mentality. We have to, they're still going to play the tournament. We're still going to play the game on Friday. We still, Hofstra wants to win just as bad. They're not going to take it easy on us knowing that Aiden Holloway can't play. So nothing really changes besides you don't have him on the court. And so hopefully Alabama won't let that be a distraction going forward. And that's all you can really hope for with that one. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. Who doesn't love March? Love filling out all these brackets. It's super fun. Putting it in there. Every year, this could be the year. You have that perfect bracket and you get that $1 million, whatever it is. You never know. But yeah, that was exciting. Disappointed in how the SEC tournament went for Alabama. But this kind of similar thing happened last year when we got the break speed off us versus Florida, and then still went on a run and went to the Elite Eight. So you just never know what's going to happen. That's part of the fun of all I just said about loving March and everything. So that's kind of what's going on with basketball. Really excited just to get after this first round. If we do beat Hofstra, we would most likely, I'm not even going to say most likely, just given that there are upsets every single round in March Madness. But if we do happen to beat Hofstra, the next round would be between the winner of Texas Tech and I believe Akron. That's a 5 versus 12 matchup. A lot of people love to pick a 12 versus 5. So very well, if we can advance, we'll play Akron or Texas Tech, either one. I think Alabama would obviously match up well with, but like I said, it's March, and none of that really matters. Just got to play your brand of ball and go after it. So that's kind of what basketball looks like at the immediate. We will break down, hopefully, the Hofstra game with a win, and then talk about who our next opponent is. And I'm going to make quicker videos during March, hopefully with Alabama making a run. If not, there won't be as many videos. But hopefully making a lot of videos in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks in March. Also, I'll make more videos just because I fiddled with the camera for a while and just having to go out a bunch and not being able to fix it. This is a very simple process to set up, record. All that audio recording is a lot easier than having to set everything up. So we'll just see how this goes. But right now, this is not a bad process, and it probably will allow me to make videos more efficiently and quicker and get them out. But that's kind of all basketball. Football has nothing really new. It's not really been there's not a time of transfer portal right now, and everything's kind of staying the same. Nothing jarring, no breaking news, nothing like that. So I'll keep you updated if something like that does happen. But for right now, that's what we got in sports world in Tuscaloosa. So roll tide, and hopefully we'll have a fun weekend at the March Madness opening rounds, and we'll meet next video talking about some Alabama wins and what else the tournament looks like for them. But until then, roll tide.